Welcome to Uli's Science Shorts. In my hands, I'm holding a piece of ancient reef that dates back 265 million years old. Although dry today, the Chihuahuan Desert of western Texas was actually part of a vast inland sea about 250 to 300 million years ago during the Permian. Texas's high point, Guadalupe Peak, is in fact an ancient reef. The story began about 335 million years ago, when continents collided to form one large supercontinent called Pangaea. All these collisions caused a large area of continental crust on the western edge of Pangaea to warp downward in what is now Texas, to form a basin that quickly filled with seawater. A marine reef grew along the edges of a portion of the seaway, and over millions of years, the reef became a massive structure, about 400 miles in length. The so-called Capitan Reef is one of the best preserved Permian fossil reefs in the world. Plate tectonics eventually brought up some of this long-lost world to the surface, revealing the ancient home of billions and billions of marine animals and plants cemented together by calcium carbonate. Unlike modern reefs, which are composed primarily of corals, the Capitan Reef's dominant creatures were a little different. Let's have a look at some of these. Along the trail to the summit of Guadalupe Peak, you'll find creatures from the ancient reef all around, including Brachiopods, or bivalves with strong and radiating ridges. They used to feed using hair-like structures to sweep organisms into their mouths. The majority of these died out during the Permian extinction. Gastropods are mollusks with a head, foot, and coiled shell. They fed by grazing on algae, decaying organisms, and bacterial slime. They still exist today as snails. Fossilized algae were made up of thin, multiple uniform layers that were either straight, tightly curved, or stacked, and sometimes look like a sliced cabbage head. Sponges, the most common creatures of the reef, are found throughout the peak with the highest concentrations at higher elevations. You can see them here as circular cross-sections. Finally, Fusulinids were single-celled organisms that secreted mineral shells. They also died out during the Permian extinction, but their living relatives are called foraminifera. They're important to geologists who use chemical information from these forams to learn more about our planet's past climates. So what's the deal with the Permian extinction? Why are scientists so interested in it? 252 million years ago, the largest mass extinction in Earth's history wiped out 96% of marine life and 70% of land-based life. It's hypothesized that climate change triggered by massive volcanic eruptions, releasing a plentiful amount of greenhouse gases, led to much warmer ocean temperatures. The ocean waters couldn't hold enough oxygen for creatures to survive, and this temperature-dependent hypoxia led to their demise. This process of depletion of the ocean's aerobic capacity is already underway in the present day due to our CO2 emissions. So we would be wise to take note and learn from history, lest we repeat it by our own hand.